Hey, what is up, guys? It's Brendan here, and today we're going to be comparing Toast versus Clover, which is the better point of sale system for your small business, whether you're running a restaurant or a retail store. That's what we're going to be taking a look at here in today's video. What are the pros and cons, pricing, and which is really the best company for you in your situation, again, in your small business. That's what we're going to be breaking down here in today's video, taking a look at all the details of Clover as well as Toast, which are some of the most popular point of sale processing companies in today's market. So before we dive in, of course, I do want to mention, if you do want to check out either of these point of sale companies, there will be links down below at the top of the video description. Again, if you do want to check out either of these companies, whether it be Toast or Clover, there will be links to both of them at the top of the video description. Of course, some of which are affiliate links, which is a great way to help out and support the channel. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the comparison of, again, Toast versus Clover. Now, to give a brief overview of each of the different POS systems and companies, by and large, so Toast is primarily built for restaurants. So Toast is a restaurant POS system. So if you are not a restaurant, you're going to have to look elsewhere, whether it be Clover or another company if you do need a retail POS system. So if you're looking for point of sale systems and you are a restaurant, then great. Toast could be a great option for you, as they do service a wide variety of different types of restaurants, whether it be cafes, bakeries, casual dining, pizzerias, fine dining, bars and lounges, breweries, food trucks, and hotels. Again, all of the hospitality, food and beverage space is covered with Toast. Whereas with Clover is another point of sale system company, and each of these companies do completely focus on credit card processing and point of sale hardware and systems and software. So they have the hardware and the software sort of all wrapped into one structure. We'll get into the pricing in a little bit later, but in terms of what they offer, in terms of their systems, you're able to take payments with both of them. You can run your business. Now, where Clover differs in terms of similarities and differences is Clover, while they do service restaurants, they do also service retail and service-based businesses. So again, depending on the industry that you're in or the type of business that you run, if maybe you're not a restaurant, then you could also go with Clover for retail or service-based businesses. Now, of course, if you're watching this video, you might already be familiar or aware that both of them do cater to restaurants. And again, Toast is only for restaurants. So if you need something not for restaurants, then you have to look elsewhere than Toast. But so Clover does offer a wider variety of the types of businesses that they service and help. Now, in terms of the overall comparison between the two companies, let's go ahead and take a look at the pricing and fee structure to give a general overview of that as well, to get you sort of familiar. So Toast, in terms of their pricing, now, obviously, of course, I always have to say this disclaimer is that pricing is always subject to change. So when you're watching this video, the pricing might be slightly different, but I imagine that the overall structure will probably be just about the same. Now, taking a look at Toast in terms of their pricing structure, in terms of what you may be paying on processing those credit cards and the solution that might be good for your business, again, or more specifically your restaurant. Again, if you're comparing Toast and Clover, compared to Clover and taking a look at their pricing structure, both companies operate under the overall setting up a long-term contract. So both of them do have long-term contracts, whether you are looking at Toast or Clover. That is something important to keep in mind. Now, that is different from other companies that I mentioned on the channel, like Square. Square is no contracts. So, that comes with its own set of pros and cons within itself. But essentially, Clover and Toast both operate off of long-term contracts. Now, depending on the contract, length might differ depending on the person that you talk to. Of course, both of them, you can get like demos as well. So Toast, if you want to do a free demo, of course, I have the links below if you want to check out Toast. As well as Clover, they do also have a sales team, and I'm sure they can set you up with some sort of demo or run you through what they have to offer, of course. So each company's sort of have that before you sign anything, or actually lock yourself into a long-term contract, but that is something worth noting and worth keeping in mind when you're taking a look and shopping around for different point-of-sale systems and companies, is that, you will be locked in depending on the contract that you're offered, but that's their general business model. With a company like Toast, in terms of their pricing, they do have a free version if you are operating as just 1 to 2 point-of-sale terminals. Now, you do have to pay for the actual terminals themselves, but in terms of the starter kit, this can be a great option for beginners just looking to get started with a point-of-sale system, because you can you purchase the 1 to 2 point-of-sale terminals, and then you don't have any monthly fees, up front, which is nice. So they do have a free version with their starter kit. It's a little bit more basic in terms of what they have available and in terms of what they actually offer you, but it is something that you can actually get started with, which is nice. Again, as they mention here, for food trucks or single location cafes. It's a sort of shop and go option, which includes their initial hardware and basic POS software. So you're not really having to have as much upfront investment, which can be nice, again, if you're just getting started, which is, I'd say, where Toast shines in that department. Clover, I'll say, is maybe a little bit better for if you plan on having some revenue right out the gate. Maybe you are maybe doing a store build out and you're going to have an entire retail location, whether it be a restaurant or even a retail store. Their plans are built a little bit better for people who are going to be scaling with more equipment and more solutions. Now, not to say that you could get started with just a couple point of sale terminals with Clover. You can do that as well. But it is something worth keeping in mind by and large in terms of their overall pricing structure and everything, in terms of building out your point of sale system. It's more equipped for people who are planning to scale their operations, and it will be a little bit more expensive maybe for beginners compared to something like Toast. However, on the flip side of that coin, over time, Toast might be more expensive as you scale, whereas Clover might actually be cheaper for you as you scale. So that's sort of like a constant coin you'll have to toss as to whether or not which platform makes more sense, just purely looking at the pricing, because I get that is an important factor for looking at point of sale systems. In terms of processing fees, Toast does not publicly list their processing fees on their site. In terms of what they charge, I imagine it would be somewhat, comparable to a lot of other companies out there. Whereas Toast does actually post their transaction fees, pay as little. Now, I will say the disclaimer there is it does depend on the industry that you're in. Every industry comes with a different sort of processing fee based on the risk assessment that they might do in your business in terms of the total amount of chargebacks you might be getting, or just the overall average there. So that is something to consider. Generally, Clover does have some of the lowest rates in the industry, though. But again, those rates can be negotiated or are negotiable depending on your overall sales volume. So it's not necessarily something to just completely look at at face value. It is something worth talking to them to get a more accurate quote for your business as to what your actual processing fees might be. I get that on the internet. It's like, ooh, that looks like the cheapest. It might not actually be, depending on what your business looks like and how they might have better custom solutions for you in your industry. So that is something else worth considering there on that department. Now, in terms of the actual hardware and software, of course, in terms of the actual platform, taking, outside of the pricing and fee structure, which again is very important for comparing the two, is that Toast, again, does have very sleek hardware and software, and honestly, Clover does as well in terms of their overall layout. Now, if you are not a restaurant and you do need inventory tracking or a retail business, then Clover would be the clear solution, because again, Toast only services restaurants. So that is something worth keeping in mind. But on the flip side of that, the nice aspect of the fact that Toast completely just focuses on restaurants is that they just focus on restaurants. So everything is really built around with restaurants in mind. So every, app integration, every software integration that they have with other business software companies, a lot of the business software companies I mentioned and talk about here on the channel and compare and review, is that Toast has those integrations and everything is focused around restaurants. So again, if you are a restaurant and you want things really just focused and catered around restaurants specifically, then Toast might be the better option there, just because it is completely, again, focused on restaurants, whereas Clover does kind of, delve into a few different industries. So they by naturally can't be as focused because they go a little bit broader of an approach compared to Toast is a bit more of a focused approach. So that is something worth considering there if you're comparing like, hey, how do I want the software to be focused? How do I want the integrations to look? Again, based on the level of focus from the company. As you can see here, in terms of the variety of different integrations. Now, not to say that Clover doesn't have a lot of integrations, because Clover does also have a lot of integrations as well. In terms of other a la carte apps that you can add on. But Toast, again, it is just completely focused around restaurants, whereas Clover has some that are maybe a little bit more spread out in terms of the overall focus. In addition to that as well, Clover also is a company that just, is a little bit been around the block for a long time, so that is something to consider there in terms of their overall brand presence. Toast is a slightly newer company to the game in terms of their technology, but I personally have seen a lot of different restaurants and retail using both Clover or Toast. So really both platforms can be a good solution for you in your small business. It really just comes down to personal preference as to which might be better for you. Again, that's why I highly recommend every different company I mentioned. Maybe give them a shot, try them out, talk to their sales team, get an idea of maybe some of the specifics that are unique to your business as to which might be better for you. In general, it really just depends on, again, what you might need with each of the platforms. Again, whether it be Clover or Toast. So again, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. Again, if you do want to check out either of the companies mentioned here in today's video, Toast or Clover, there will be links linked down at the top of the video description. Of course, some of which are affiliate links, which is great to help out and support the channel. But if you guys enjoyed the video or found it helpful, then be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and notification bell so you're notified whenever I upload a new video. Anyway, guys, that's all for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.